Hello everyone, welcome to the Group 2 presentation. Presenters are Bill Lee, Anna Phillip, and myself, Sergio Montes. We will discuss the design and implementation of a virtual classroom in Jamaica and the global UDL, or Universal Design for Learning, classroom. To begin, we will explore the demographics, education, and socioeconomic status of Jamaica, as well as the challenges of integrating technology into education and how the virtual learning classroom intervention was developed. This presentation will discuss types of UDL strategies used to address the diversity of learners, challenges to implementing UDL in schools and universities, and changes implemented to increase UDL implementation. The learning objectives are the following: to provide an overall introduction to Jamaica, describe UDL diversity techniques used in Jamaica, detail UDL implementation challenges in schools and universities, discuss UDL changes to increase support, and share general conclusions about UDL application in Jamaica. Jamaica demographics. Kingston is Jamaica's capital city. In 1962, the country gained independence. It is a tropical climate, and as of 2024, Jamaica had a total population of 2,823,713. Blacks make up 92.1% of the population. Education system. Modeled after the British education system and is influenced by historical, socioeconomic, and policy factors. Socioeconomic status. As a result of the anticipated high living costs, homes were built one room at a time in rural areas. There has been a decline in economic opportunities since 2008, as well as high unemployment and debt levels. Youth employment and education are affected by social challenges such as increased crime and violence. As a result of limited parental support, lower socioeconomic opportunities, and poverty, children under 5 are at a great risk. In spite of Jamaica being the first country in the Caribbean to acquire computers and internet access, it lags behind in implementing information and communication technologies in the classroom. In 2004, there was advocacy for education reform that included emphasis on learner-centered education, technology-rich learning environments, and effective professional development programs. Jamaica's Vision 2030 National Development Plan emphasizes providing everyone with the ability to reach their full potential and globally competitive education systems, as well as universal access to quality education from early childhood to higher education. Achieving Vision 2030 requires training for educators and parents, as well as providing equal opportunities to learners with disabilities. The following challenges are identified in the 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan developed by the Ministry of Education in 2009. An insufficient number of university-trained teachers at all levels, the inadequacy of pre-primary teachers, the use of educational technology at all levels is negligible, the use of teacher-centered teaching methods at the early stages of education, the inability of some parents to pay for the fee charged under the cost-sharing program. In spite of the No Child Should Be Left Behind policy, there are a lack of facilities to accommodate students with special needs, physically disabled and mentally challenged students, as well as the gifted, and parents' insufficient involvement in their children's education. Developing adaptive educators who are capable of designing and delivering instruction based on the needs of different learners by applying universal design for learning was viewed as essential. A former Jamaican Minister of Education stressed the importance of setting academic goals, developing strategies, evaluating and reflecting on students' performance, clear goals, flexible methods and strategies, and multiple points for assessing students' progress and growth. Through UDL-informed teacher training, skills and understandings are developed that recognize cultural diversity, learner variability, and the importance of cultural context. Also, social learning communities are important digital spaces for creating participatory learning experiences through information exchange. A virtual learning classroom was designed to provide a rich, sustainable online community for exploring UDL and its applications. Before we talk about what UDL diversity techniques were applied to address learner needs, we must first consider the learners themselves and the real-world obstacles that need to be considered when designing curriculum that authentically serves them. First, poverty in Jamaica as of 2012 can be used to describe the economic status of almost 1 in 5 people in Jamaica, as opposed to the lower percentage of the population in the United States that can be considered in the same category. Secondly, schools are often equipped with limited technology tools for students and staff to use, limited lighting and ventilation, as well as overall resources that we often take for granted here in the States. Likewise, student-to-teacher ratios in Jamaica average at 50 students to 1 teacher, which is overwhelming when compared to the average of 16.1 to 1 here in the U.S. Lastly, former Jamaican Minister of Education, the Honorable Reverend Thwaite, described the traditional education offerings in Jamaica as a practice that has only worked for marginally half of the students because it included didactic delivery, rigid curriculum, and memorization where everyone is expected to perform in the exact same way. With all of the diverse needs of learners taken into consideration, a team of Jamaican and US-based educators worked together in order to approach the teaching of universal design for learning principles to local educators, both in rural and more populated areas, in a way that serves the learners while respecting their culture and their current contexts. First, there was a devoted effort to the creation of a virtual classroom that aimed to make learning visible, constructive, and applicable through online dialogue, interactive demonstrations, resource curation, and reflection about classroom applications. Second, the limited access to high-speed Wi-Fi and wireless technology were taken into account by how the designers focused on a technologically lean design that offered the benefits of simplicity and accessibility. Costs for ongoing maintenance and hosting were minimal, and the technology was easily adaptable to include needed plugins or web extensions. Lastly, the virtual classroom provided a flexible and varied cache of resources with multiple means of representation of the content, as well as various options of how to express understanding. The overall goals of the virtual classroom were to exemplify the UDL principles being taught and encourage participants to share their perspectives on what they took away from the UDL content, how they applied these takeaways to their settings, and why they found this content meaningful. UDL technology challenges. Many barriers continue to exist across the needs for educators and parents, enhancements to infrastructure and equipment, and greater understanding of supporting students with more significant learning needs. Facilitator participants identified challenges in technology access, including connectivity issues due to unreliable internet availability and password issues that affected access to materials. UDL interpersonal challenges. Constructive feedback revealed a need for more time for facilitators to preview module content and more time spent by U.S. faculty to demonstrate the use of the resources. Participants also expressed the need for more time engaging in the virtual classroom, particularly more group sessions to allow participants to fully grasp concepts, as well as ongoing support with using UDL. In the global UDL virtual classroom, there are 5 modules designed to build a rich and sustainable online community for UDL applications. Using WordPress as the hosting website provided benefits such as accessibility and simplicity, low hosting and maintenance costs, and plugin and extension capability. During 5 online modules, key UDL concepts were explored, classroom connections were identified, reflections were shared, and pilot applications were tested. Design multiple means of engagement, optimize relevance, value, and authenticity. Design the virtual UDL classroom with Jamaican cultures and contexts in mind. Jamaica had outdated desktop models and limited Wi-Fi access. It affected the way Jamaican participants viewed and applied UDL principles. The virtual classroom was designed around the needs identified for UDL to help students with and without disabilities with behavioral and attention problems as well. Multiple means of representation support customization of information display. A WordPress theme called 2012 was used because it was responsive, accessible, easy to view on any screen size, and offered simple and intuitive layout options. Accessibility plugin for WordPress enables users to change screen contrast, font size, skip navigation links, insert alternative text or image descriptions to images, and navigate context, starting points, modules, and resources with basic menu options. There are multiple examples to illustrate content such as audio files, transcripts, hyperlinks, and images. The bulleted digests of module information sparked the interest of busy participants who were able to review module content outside the virtual classroom sessions and identify questions. In order to support multiple ways of interpreting information, resources and support could easily be accessed on computers with low bandwidth and printed for distribution when identified. In addition to a cache of free resources from the CAST website, a list of frequently asked questions was developed, along with tips on how to incorporate UDL resources into the classroom. Multiple means of action and expression. Participants in the UDL virtual classrooms were engaged with the UDL content, which empowered them to learn, contribute, and act on implementing UDL principles in learning and teaching. The participants were encouraged to share their perspectives throughout the course. Open-ended comments were allowed on each module. WordPress Commons feature was used by learners to ask each other and their U.S. colleagues questions. Face-to-face interaction with each other and their Jamaican facilitators on-site helps them engage with UDL content. The facilitators prepared handouts, simulated discussion, and demonstrated how to access materials on the virtual classroom website using computer access and projection. As a result of the UDL virtual classroom, Jamaican participants were better able 2. Integrate information within cultural context, enhancing relevance of UDL. Educators could meet learners' needs by incorporating engagement, representation, action, and expression strategies. Application of the UDL principles in the UDL virtual classroom influenced lifelong learning. Jamaican educators teaching low socioeconomic, no-tech settings eagerly embrace the opportunities to learn about this transformational framework. Though technology challenges existed, responses from both emerging U.S. faculty and Jamaican educators echoed the high value of this online classroom offered as a free and open platform for learning and collaborating about UDL. Here are our references. We hope you enjoyed our presentation and that you were able to take something with you. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.